Hey guys, TommyBryson here, and the housing market just flipped. Now, when I bought this house right here that I'm in, I paid asking price, although I should have offered 10,000 below, but I felt like, you know what? Somebody's gonna come offer above asking price and they're gonna get away with this house. And guess what? That happened to me 2 times prior, or actually 1 time prior, because the housing market was so hot. It was white hot, okay? So you would go to a house and then the seller would be like, no, we want actually more than the house is worth. The real estate agent would be like, hey, we rather just wait for somebody else, because they knew for a fact that there would be some other person coming by with more money to offer, because guess what? The Fed rates were so low and banks went ahead and lowered interest rates. So it was so easy to borrow so much money and offer so much more money, okay? So the entire game became, for example, like a bidding war. Not just that, okay? But we weren't building as many homes because it was a pandemic and things were very slow and there wasn't that much lumber. So guess what? Naturally, if we don't have what we need to build houses, then the used housing market becomes even more hot. So it's just a crazy time. And I knew for a fact, hey, Tommy, this is not a buyer's market. This is a seller's market. And you gotta understand that, because it's gonna be very obvious to you whenever you're going to be buying a house. But guess what? That time is this close. And I'm saying this close to being over, because we are about to enter, in my opinion, a buyer's market very, very soon. And that means that if you are a buyer, you're gonna have a better chance of getting better deals out there. Because naturally, common sense says if there aren't as many people that want to buy your little fancy house, you're going to be good with what I offer you, okay? But before, everyone wanted your little fancy house, so you were more enticed to saying, no, I'll wait for somebody else. And by the way, I knew people that were basically pricing these houses above appraisal prices, well, above appraisal values, basically saying, this house is only worth $100,000, but I want 120 for it. And people were paying for this. They went to the bank for the 100K and they borrowed the other 20K or paid that in cash in addition just to get the house, because that's how crazy the market was. But now everything is switching, and I'm gonna break everything down in this video. Is right now a good time to buy, to borrow money? What exactly is going on? I'm gonna break everything down in this video. And as always, destroy the like button. It helps out with the channel. And on top of that, if you're new here, subscribe, hit the bell to get notified. It's free, and I post videos every single week about money, real estate, and most importantly, financial freedom. Now, let's dive into this video right away, because two things are happening right now that are switching things from a seller's market to a buyer's market. And I'm so happy, you know, because it's kind of like whenever you're a kid and that one kid doesn't want to lend you your toy, their toy or whatever. You're like, you know, just wait. I'll have my own stuff pretty soon, and then it'll be my turn, and then I'll say no, which is not nice whatsoever, but that's what's happening right now, okay? Because I get very excited about this stuff, okay? Especially like markets. I'm just so nerdy about it, okay? But overall, now the very first thing that's affecting this seller's market to now turn it into a buyer's market is Fed rates and inflation. Now, inflation was running rampant, like rampant. We don't want that. We printed a bunch of money. Things were getting very expensive. The dollar was losing value. So in return, the Fed said, hey, we're going to go ahead, increase the rates, so that way we slow down the economy and we kind of slow down inflation, because we don't want to go into recession, because that is dicey and that's not what we want. So naturally, as the Fed increased their rates, interest rates for the banks basically had to go up simultaneously, meaning we went from having interest rates at 3% to now almost doubled at 6%. And by the way, I should say more like around 5.75%, but naturally it's still a lot more. And you might think, Tommy, really 3% to 6% or 5.75% is really not that much money whatsoever? The answer is it is. It is a lot of money, because when you're buying something that literally takes you 30 years to pay and you're being charged even 1% more, it's a lot of money, okay? So for example, if you're buying a home that costs $200,000, which by the way is not realistic, they're actually a lot more money now, okay? But if you're buying this home for $200,000, you put down 10% on it, and you're basically getting it for 30 years, at 3%, guess what? You would be paying somewhere around $758, okay? That's just principal and interest, not including insurance and taxes and everything else, for example, maybe HOA or whatever, okay? So you need to get qualified on this amount, including interest, well, not interest, well, essentially, interest, principal, insurance, and taxes. You need to get qualified on all these aspects, including also HOA potentially, to see if you're able to actually afford it. And they use a debt to income ratio, right? And the bank uses a debt to income ratio to kind of see exactly if you would be able to qualify. But then once you switch your rates from 3% to 6%, well, that goes from $758 per month just on principal and interest all the way up to $1,079. That's an additional $300. Now that makes it a lot more harder and more expensive for the average person to actually qualify to actually buy these things. Now, what happens? Common sense says, how do you say that word? Common sense says if it becomes more expensive, if it becomes a lot more harder for you to qualify for something, naturally the demand has to slow down. And naturally, whatever you're gonna buy, if the market is slowing down, well, they can't charge you outrageous prices anymore. Because by the way, guys, there were some people out there taking advantage, like just outright taking advantage and listing these homes for a crazy amount of money. But I'm not upset, because that is what markets do. You have sellers markets, you have buyers markets. And whenever the market is not to your liking, what you do is you stop, you halt, because you don't buy based on what the market wants. You buy based on what you can do, okay? So I wasn't out there going crazy, because whenever they would say no and they wanted more money, I'd be like, okay, I'm out, I'm done here. And whenever I bought this house, although I paid more than I wanted to, which was asking price, I should have paid like 10K less. I really believe that, okay? But overall, I wasn't offering 150. I wasn't offering a lot more money or whatever. I just offered asking price because it was a seller's market at the time. Now, the second thing that is going on right now is this, okay? We increased the amount of houses that we're basically building. Now, you guys remember, right? During the pandemic of 2020, naturally, the entire system, the economy, came to a halt. And it was kind of like a mandatory halt. We decided to say, hey, we are going to pause everything. Everyone stay home. Don't go to work. Here are the benefits. So you don't have to worry about this, worry about that. Just don't go to work. Stay at home for safety reasons or whatever you want to call it, okay? But overall, lumber and everything that's required to actually build homes, all those things slowed down like crazy. So naturally, the building process for houses could not be, for example, done properly. So the used market for houses exploded, because now you have, for example, the Fed lower the rates like crazy back then. So then it became a lot more cheaper for you and me to go borrow a bunch of money to buy homes. But then the only homes available were used ones, which were basically a limited supply of them. Now all of us are competing for the same exact home. So all of us are offering a bunch of money to buy these homes. And that's how you create a seller's market. Now what happened is, after that, once the economy started to open up and open up and not open up, in return to meet all of this newly founded demand, we started to build a bunch of supply. Now we have built so far, I think in 2021, we built around 1.651 million homes, which by the way is a lot. And we haven't built that much since 2006. That date is very important because that's pre-2008. So pre the date when the housing market crashed, meaning we built a bunch of homes in 2021. And my idea is most likely we're going to build a lot more also in 2022. Now, naturally, what happens is this, okay? We build all these homes to basically meet all the supply that's out there, right? That's the idea. But common sense says that if that supply, or I should say, if that demand is no longer there to meet that supply, then naturally the supply has to be lowered in price or has to be halted, because the demand is no longer there to actually buy. What I mean is this, okay? Since the Fed went ahead and raised the rates, it becomes a lot more harder for the average person to qualify or to actually buy these things. And they're basically also afraid of inflation, and they're afraid of a recession happening, afraid of job loss and all these things. In reality, they're probably not going to be going crazy about buying all these homes. And that's why CNBC actually posted on an article saying that cancellation rates for all these builder homes and also, for example, buying agreements has actually gone up a lot more. Meaning that people that were going to go ahead and buy a home, whether it's by they built it for them or they were going to buy it, they're canceling. They're like, you know what, I'm actually out of this deal. I actually don't want to do it because I don't really know what's going to happen, or actually it's actually a lot more expensive now. Now, common sense says that, for example, the good thing is this, right? If these homes are still going to be built and you have a massive influx of homes out there in the market and not enough buyers, then naturally these homes have to be purchased by the people that can actually afford them, actually want them, and have the money to actually buy them. So naturally, those home prices, in a sense, if there's not enough demand, well, the prices naturally have to go down or meet somewhere in the middle. That's how economics works, right? Supply and demand, demand and supply. That's how it works, okay? So those are the two main things that are happening right now, okay? Supply increased like crazy, so a lot more homes are going to be out there. On top of that, it becomes a lot more harder for the average person to go out there and basically buy a home because the Fed rates increased from not the Fed, the mortgage rates went from, they were like at 2% for a while, okay, kind of crazy, but now they're nearly at 6%, so that's kind of crazy too, okay? It went up back to normal. Now, the next question is, well, what should I be doing right now? Well, three things are happening right now, which is fear. The fear of, well, if we do have a recession or if we do have a housing market crash because homes were like at $200,000 pre-pandemic, now they're $300,000 post-pandemic. Well, not post, we're still kind of in it or whatever. But in reality, what happens if things go back to what they were? If I'm being honest with you guys, I don't really think that's going to happen. And here's why. Because the reason the price went up like crazy is because of inflation. And the reason that happens is because we basically printed a bunch of money. Like so much more money is out there in the economy. And it's not like we're going to take the money back. It's going to stay in the economy. So the prices naturally should stay up in a sense. But that's just an opinion. But that's what should be happening. Okay. So I don't think that overnight we're going to see, for example, hey, they're going to go from $300,000 to $250,000 to $200,000. Everything's going to go down like crazy. I don't really think that's going to happen whatsoever because there's so much money flooding the economy and inflation already happened, okay? So second thing is we also have regret. We have people that bought homes that they shouldn't have bought homes in the first place because they basically bought a home for more than the appraisal price. That's usually never a good deal. It's kind of like you go ahead and you buy something that you're going to be having for a very long time. And by the way, homes, personal homes, this home right here is not an investment. I'm going to spend more money on this home than I'm ever going to make in the next 30 years. It's just how it works. But if I do buy a rental property, then that's an investment in a sense. But this right here, not an investment, okay? Not at all whatsoever. So you have people that bought a home that's very expensive in the first place, but now they paid even more than that. Now, that's a massive problem. And then you also have, for example, the smart people that are now going to be sitting and waiting and saying, well, demand supply says that things are going to slow down. So because the market is flipping from a seller's market to a buyer's market, what I'm currently doing is the following. I'm stacking up some cash. That's my main thing. And I'm also just investing money into my regular investment account. Link down below. M1 Finance is what I use. My investments are right there. When you click it, you see it. But the money I'm stacking up is because when it does become a full-blown buyer's market, I'm going to be sitting there and I'm going to be offering great offers, okay, below appraisal, and I'm going to be buying some good deals. But you can't really buy these great deals whenever it's basically a seller's market because people are willing to offer crazy amounts of money. But when it does flip, like it is flipping right now, what you're going to see is a lot of great deals out there. And you might even get some really good deals on, for example, brand new homes. And that's going to be pretty awesome. It's kind of like when you go to an outlet like Burlington and you're like, these are brand new clothes. The retail was $55, but now it's like $30 or like $15 or $12. That's crazy. That's a good deal. I'm going to buy it, right? But you're buying an asset, not a liability, because those are clothes, right? They're going to deteriorate, but the home is going to deteriorate, but it should still go up in value, whatever, as far as like an investment purpose. But that's the idea. So that's the good thing. So this is actually a good thing if you're planning on buying properties for investments. Now, this should still not tell you not to buy a property if you do want to buy a property, because you might say, well, I'm not going to buy a property because I'm going to pay 6% instead of 3% and blah, 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 blah. No, if you can afford to buy a property and you're using, for example, the 33% rule on a 15-year mortgage, look it up on YouTube with my name, you'll find it and know exactly what it is. But the idea is, if you can afford to buy a property and it fits your budget and everything fits, and you're gonna be getting, for example, a massive discount, I would go ahead and buy it. When I bought this home, I didn't buy it because interest rates were low or any of that stuff. I bought it because I had the budget and it fit my budget to actually go ahead and buy it. That's why I bought this home right here. So buy based on you. Don't buy based on economics because you can't control those things. That's the idea. Guys, that is it. Housing market flipped. I'm excited, and this is going to be a wonderful year, potentially. Who knows what's going to happen, okay? Because things might get crazy, but that's basically it, guys, okay? Thanks for watching. As always, like, subscribe, hit the bell to get notified. Comment down below with house, so comment house first, and then your comment. That way I know you're a real person. There's a lot of bots in the comments, so that way I know you are a real person. Comment down below house or house emoji, whatever it is. I just don't care. I just really want to know that you are a real person and that you are you, so I can respond to you, okay, guys? I'll be in the comments down below. And as always, here is another video on the 33% rule when it comes to buying a home. And up here is my face. Click and subscribe. And as always, a long-term team officially out. Follow me on Instagram at TommyBryson. Thanks for watching. Peace.